Good evening and good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to this launch event of the Pulmonary Hypertension Expert Patient Academy. I'm delighted to introduce you this new initiative. Once ERN Lung European Reference Network for Rare Respiratory Diseases was contacted by with this idea, I was very delighted. This is a brand new initiative, and I believe that it might be very fruitful, not only the PH, but other rare disease communities. As you might know, the pulmonary hypertension patients are very well structured. Without putting extra burden on your shoulders, I need to underline that this initiative might be a very good pilot program for each and all other rare diseases. And with that, let me hand over to Eva Otter from PHA Europe, who will say you some welcoming words. Eva, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gergely. As you mentioned, I'm also delighted that this is a project and it's a cooperation between PHA Europe and Alliance for PH. So I think the first joint one, I'm really happy about this because patient involvement in various development processes is particularly important because we have to give the rare diseases a voice. And so we need empowered patients. And with this project, we are creating a foundation that enables many patients for this voice. And what is important from my side is to speak in clear words that everyone can understand it, and so we can educate persons. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy, as Eva said, to welcome you to our webinar. I'm very enthusiastic about introducing you today to this new initiative. As Eva mentioned it, it's the first joint initiative we are doing together, and it is also endorsed by ERN Lung, which we are very lucky with. And I also have to say that Marc Humbert holds a great role by accompanying us in this project. I would have loved, when we all created our associations in the 90s, that such an academy existed, which wasn't the case, and we had to learn everything when things happened. And now we would like to help other patients and other associations with the experience we have completed, all of us. All of us are patients or patients carers, and we hope this project will help you in managing your associations and also managing your diseases.
Thank you, Mélanie and Eva. I'm going to share my screen. So my name is Marc Humbert. I'm the French Pulmonary Hypertension Network chair, and I'm going to show you a few slides and speak together with Pisana Ferrari, who is leading the Alliance for Pulmonary Hypertension. And what we are going to walk you through is the rationale of the project. And it will be very, very simple and based on very simple ideas and concepts. So when we first met with patients in the 1990s, as Mélanie said, we really wanted to know what are the needs of the patients. And this was discussed extensively at the time of the World Symposium on Pulmonary Hypertension, especially in Barcelona, where the patient voice was opening the World Symposium, and it's here to stay. I mean, we are not working on pulmonary hypertension for anything else but helping the patients and their relatives and their supporters. So what patients need? First, they need expertise. So they need expertise from external expert provider teams. So PH reference centers, you know that the French PH centers have been started a while ago, more than 20 years ago, with a great support from the French Ministry of Health. and the European ER and Lung. I represent ER and Lung today together with Gergely, and ER and Lung was created in 2017 with a core network on pulmonary hypertension. So first, expertise. Second, access to proper diagnostic modalities and tools everywhere. And that's a second thing we try to implement at a European and international level. And thanks to guidelines, we try to inform the community on the right approach to diagnose pulmonary hypertension and then classify it in order to manage it. The third thing is access to medications and interventions. So, of course, there are many barriers, many hurdles to pass, but worldwide, access to medication is certainly a priority for patients, as well as access to interventions. And we need to support that. And a fourth aspect is multi-professional support. We need not only doctors, we also need researchers, we need healthcare providers, nurses, physiotherapists, etc., people working on palliative care, support groups, and of course, patient associations. And that's what we discussed today. But patient associations should not be passive partners. And that's the path we walk through together in the last 30 years is how can we have a strong voice from patient association and the empowerment of patient association. Of course, patient-centered approach, patient-reported outcome measures are very important, but we also need expertise from the patients in order to inform the field. So on the next slide, I just want to show you the current status of the French network on pulmonary hypertension. You don't have to know anything about France. You see the dots on the map. This is France, and there is a pink map in the middle. That's where the French Reference Center sits. Then you have yellow dots, which represent centers of high expertise in the country, and then the blue spots, where you can see that there are expert centers throughout the country, including overseas lands like Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean and Fort-de-France in the Caribbean. So the great idea is that knowledge travels, not the patients, and the patients should have access to expertise very close to their home. That's a good thing. Then the European Reference Network on rare respiratory diseases, ER and lung. So the mission is to ensure and promote excellence in care and research to the benefit of patients affected by rare respiratory diseases. And of course, this includes pulmonary hypertension, which is prominent in the ER and lung. And we want ER and lung not to be a black hole attracting everything, but rather it's a knowledge hub which goes to the territories, to the many countries. And you can see the map on the right is very interesting because we spread to the east, we spread to the south, and we try to have a very strong mission that knowledge travels, not the patients. But of course, when needed, the patients may travel, but based on real necessity. And what we have done together, we have European guidelines since the year 2004. And initially, the patients were partners, but not active players in the guidelines. But the last guidelines in 2022, and I was very honored to be the writing committee lead, we involved 2 patient representatives who are together tonight with us, Pisana Ferrari and Gergely Meszaros. And for the first time ever, patient representatives were including, and it does set an important precedent for the future. So expertise is now on both sides, of course, and these sides are complementary, and the expertise given by the patients is extremely important for rare disease innovation and development. Of course, we also published together with the patients a lay summary, which was not only available in English, but in 11 European languages, just to disseminate knowledge in lay language in order to have the best understanding worldwide of these guidelines. And obviously, now what we want to have partners and association of patients in the center of the map. So what we are building together today with this Pulmonary Hypertension Expert Patient Academy, it's to set new important rules that the patients could be very important in development and spreading of knowledge. And I'm going to hand over now to Pisana Ferrari, just to give you more information about the making of this partnership, not only with the Alliance for Pulmonary Hypertension, but also with PHA Europe, but also with all the patient association around the continent. So thank you very much, Pisana and friends from all over Europe, to be really important in the development of PHEPA. And I look forward to the next stage of the discussion today.
Thank you very much, Marc, for setting the context for how we've come to where we are today to present PHEPA or PHEPA, as you prefer. So you've very clearly shown how we've gone from medicine for patients to with patients, and the partnership, the patient partnership revolution. And this is, as you also explained, is now recognized in the pulmonary hypertension guidelines, where I had the honor to be part of the task force together with Gergely, because it's now become evident and that the patient lived experience provides clinical insights that clinical data cannot capture, that priorities may differ, and in fact there is now increasing evidence that outcomes are better when patients are actively shaping care design. Let me see how to move the slide. So there's been growing patient involvement in healthcare in various organizations and institutions over the past decades. In the EU institutions, for example, here today, HAL is a member of the MEP Health Group. Scientific societies, we've already talked about the guidelines, but there's also the ESC Patient Forum, where I think Louise is a member. European reference networks have EPAGs, European Patient Advisory Groups, which involve patients, including some of us here. Regulatory authorities, the EMA in Europe, the European Regulatory Authority, where I've also had the honor of taking part in scientific advice procedures, health technology assessment bodies, and the healthcare industry. So the challenge now that we are increasingly being involved, that this requires specialized knowledge and skills. These are the current organizations that have training courses for patient advocates. EUPATI, we have two fellows here today, Hal and Louise. The European Patient Ambassador Program and the EURORDIS Open Academy, which includes the Summer School for Patient Advocates, which I've actually done. But what's missing is specific pulmonary hypertension training. So this is the gap we want to fill. And we want PH advocates that feel confident to be able to contribute in technical environments in the future. So just a few words about PHEPA. I don't want to go into too much detail because Hal will be doing an overview. It's a collaborative effort. There's a very comprehensive curriculum. It fills a clear education map. Very importantly, it's written by patients for patients. So it's in very simple, understandable language. But of course, we also want medical rigor, so it will be reviewed by international experts, and in particular, the scientific committees of PHA Europe and the Alliance for Pulmonary Hypertension. It's practical and actionable, and it will be free and accessible. And Gergely will be talking later about the different opportunities. So with that, I would like to hand over to Hal, who will be going an overview of the actual modules and what they contain.
Thank you so much, Pisana. So I will be sharing my screen. 1 second. So what we did when we were thinking about developing this course was first we sat down to figure out what we wanted to include in the course. So we wanted to have more than just studying of pH as the disease and medication and so on. We wanted to have additional information that would be useful for a PH patient advocate. So we came up with 13 different modules, and then we split the task between us on writing these different modules based on, among others, the skills we have. And we have finished quite a few of these, at least finished to the point where we have a very functional, good draft. And then we will continue developing the ones missing here. Plus, we will kind of glue everything together. So I will just very shortly go through each module. And the first module we'll have is a module about the background of pH and our understanding of the pH. So we look into the first cases and how pH was recognized as a disease. Then comes the discoveries of prostacyclin and nitric oxide and so on. The right heart catheterization was used as the gold standard to diagnose the disease. We will also talk about the different landmark clinical trials that shaped the treatment, and then how all of this, of course, has moved the science forward, and now we have a much better survival rates than we had in the beginning. Next module, we'll start to talk about the patient association landscape. How did all this start? We'll look into the national associations and also see how things have developed into a global network of different associations. And we will talk about how now we are getting more and more into helping to shape the healthcare policy. And but also there are challenges that we will talk about in addition to the opportunities of these associations. And talking about associations, we need to talk about some legal frameworks, how to set up association with statutes, the board, and compliance issues, and so on. We will talk about fundraising issues, strategy, management, how to communicate with PH stakeholders, PH patients, etc., through websites, the social media, and so on, and how a patient association can be a very good supplement for patients. Going to the doctor is one thing, but then once you left the doctor's office, to have a patient association that can support you on more practical things, emotional burden, and education like this that we are developing now. We will, in Module 4, look into the stakeholder landscape. We will look at the EU institutions that are that a PH advocate should know about, the regulatory authorities, EMA in Europe, the FDA in the US. We have some scientific societies and networks that one should know about, the ESC, ERS, and so on. And we have very important public health NGOs, EURORDIS, the European Patient Forum, PVRI, etc. And of course, we also have the healthcare industry. So we will talk a little bit about this in Module 4. In Module 5, we will start to look into the disease itself. And we will see and discuss the causes of PH and the mechanisms behind the disease. Luckily here we have, of course, good help from Professor Marc Humbert that can verify that everything we write is solid. We will look into these different groups of pH that we have, the classification 1 through 5, functional class, New York functional class, how that works, and also look into the different subtypes and patient populations that we find in these different groups. Once we have talked about the groups, we will talk about pH treatment. As you all know, we have several pathways. We had 3, and now we had 1 more. And there are new therapies coming up and emerging treatments that we will discuss. And for one of the groups, then also there is a surgical option that will be talked about. And of course, we will talk about how the treatment of pH depends on what kind of type of pH you have. So for some patients, a given pH therapy would be totally wrong. And for another type, it will be just the right type. So this is an important topic. Then in Module 7, we will start to look at the patient-reported outcome measures. So this is a little bit more about how the patient feels, which is, of course, very important, and how this can be used, for instance, for shared decision-making together with the doctor on deciding what kind of treatment the patient should have. And also, the problems are also used in trials, often as a secondary endpoint. As I said, very good to have these when you talk with your doctor, and it will help to improve the quality of care. Then in Module 8, we will look into key reference documents and scientific literacy. So we will talk about the guidelines that Marc mentioned that started in 2004, and the latest we had in 2022. We will discuss scientific journals that contains latest evidence, and talk about how you can read and interpret this type of research. Luckily now, when farmers are doing research and trials, they have to also provide the lay summary. So it's easier for many patients to read and follow the research that's going on. And then we have pH registries that are very important. You got a large one in France. We have registries in many other countries, Sweden and so on. And also we have registries that are combined. PVRI have one called Go Deep, where they combine different registries of the world. And once you have a big registry of all patients, then you can do a lot of research and see how medication affects the patients and so on. So this will be covered in Module 8. In Module 9, we will talk about clinical trials and how they work and how the different phases work, phase 1 through phase 4. And We will also talk about ethics and informed consents that are very important when conducting clinical trials. And we will talk about how once the patients are more empowered, how they can also play a role in research, not only as a participant in a trial, but as a participant in, for instance, the steering committee of the trial, to help shape and develop the trial, to give a patient voice, to talk about which endpoints should be included, and so on. So more and more patients are involved in these kind of things. In Module 10, we will talk about access to medication and treatment. So we have the regulatory approvals, EMA, FDA, and once it's approved on this level, then we have the health technology assessment that needs to be performed in every country in order to get the drug to the market. And all this will be covered in Module 10. Module 11 will talk about a new emerging concept, telemedicine and AI. It's going to play more and more important role in the future. And we will talk about how telemedicine can improve the care, talk about remote monitoring that, of course, during the COVID became more pronounced than before. And AI will be used more and more, not only in helping writing, as we all know, and probably all use, but also help diagnose and help with risk assessment and so on. But of course, the challenge will be privacy and data protection issues. So this will be covered in Module 11. And then in Module 12, we will talk about legal and ethical issues, how to know and protect the patient's rights, and ensure privacy, confidentiality, and so on, and manage the conflict of interest. So this is a very important topic for us patients, of course. And then we will have an addendum where we will try to have a glossary of key terms that are being used throughout this course, and a list of acronyms and so on. And also we will give you some recommended readings. I would say not only readings, but both the Alliance and PHA Europe, they have developed webinars. So we will guide you to important webinars that would help to improve your understanding of pH and pH-related issues. So these are the 13 different modules that we are planning to provide for you. Thank you. So I don't know who's next.
I'm next, Hal.
Oh, okay.
Can you share my slides, Robert? Thanks. Well, good evening, all. Today I have the honor to briefly show you how a module is structured, using Module 7 as an example. And remember, this is not about the detailed content, but about how the learning experience is designed. This is a draft version of Module 7, and it still needs to be reviewed by our scientific committee, so it's not done yet. There's a lot of work still to do, but we want to show you something. And each module is built to be clear, accessible, and practical. Next slide, please. Let me briefly tell you how this looks in practice. Each module always starts with an estimated reading time and clear learning objectives. That immediately gives participants clarity. How much time do I need and what will I actually learn? Then the content is divided into clear sections with structured headings, and this makes it easy to follow and also easy to revisit later. And every module concludes with references and additional information. So for those who want to go deeper and want to know more, want to know more about scientific side, you can dig as deep as you want. And the sources are there, but they don't overload the main text. So the structure is consistent, predictable, and very practical. Next slide, please. So I want to show you how the module itself looks, and so you can see how it feels in practice. Can you share it, Robert? The PDF? Yes. So it's not really, well, you can see in the beginning, you see the estimated reading time and also the learning objectives about the prompts and quality indicators. And you see every heading is very clear and it flows. It's not too dense and not too academic, just easy to read. You can scroll through if you want. And what I think is very important that, well, it's really easy to read with dots and with important things and also some figures. So if you scroll through, you can already see a little bit of the inside, so a sneak peek. You see, so also patient-related things. It's what is practical for a patient to know. Different things, how to use it, where to use it. What kind of things you have. What do you measure? What do you want to measure? What can you measure? When do you need it? It looks like a lot, but if you read it, it's not too difficult or too intense. And it's really written from the patient's perspective, so everybody can read it and everybody can understand what it's about. You can go a little bit further now, Robert, if you, because it's a lot. But then you can it's just an overview of what it is. And here is an example of how, this is a simple figure to just show this different kinds of prompts that are available and are used in pulmonary hypertension, and with the pros and the cons and which ones are used where. So that's just an easy overview of handy things, I would say. You can go down now to the bottom. Oh, stop. Yeah, yes. Here you see the references. So we use scientific materials, of course, publications. And if you scroll a little bit down, then you can see that there's also extra information, and not primarily from the Alliance or from PHA Europe, but also from things like EUPATI or things on YouTube that are related to this topic. So you can always find extra information if you want to, because some people learn more from watching videos than reading. So everything is included, and we hope to do that for every module, actually. So that gives a little bit more than just plain text. So actually this is, oh yeah, can you go back to the slides again, Robert? So every module is built around 3 principles. Clarity, so everybody can understand it. Consistency, so you can navigate through it very easily. And credibility, so it's also based on science. And Module 7 is simply one example of this approach, and together the modules create a structured pathway toward becoming an expert patient. And that's what we want. We want more patients to be able to do more than just being a patient, and to make the PH world a little bit better from the patient's perspective. Thank you for your time.
Gergely?
Yeah, many thanks.
Oh, sorry.
Robert, is it possible that to share my slides, please?
Hold on 1 second. I think I have the wrong slides here. We'll open up Gergely's again. Sorry about that. Stop sharing. In the meantime, Gergely, can you...
Sure. So you can already learn lots of interesting parts of this academy. So you can learn from how the specific modules, and also Louise walk you through on how we try to approach. But you might ask, who we are addressing with this expert academy. So we try to be as inclusive as possible. Mainly we are focusing on someone who is living with PH, but naturally there might be other impacted persons like caregivers, relatives, or other loved ones. It might also occur that some of the friends or schoolmates or even co-workers of a patient might be interested. But we would not like to limit the addresses for this list, however, say in general that any other individual who is committed to the cause of PH. But why you think they might be interested? Because they would like to better understand the disease, the life of a patient. And last but not least, and we truly hope that many of the patient experts who are attending our academy would like to help a specific patient or his or her family, or in general, the PH community. Next slide, please. As it was already mentioned, we tried to build this academy under the umbrella of European Reference Network for Rare Diseases, ER and Lung. But you should never forget that actually this initiative is not coming from a vacuum. We already have a very successful academy for physicians. Our plan is to build up for nurses and other allied professionals. And as you can see from the graphic, we have the Patient Experts Academy in the very heart of ER and Lung. Next slide, please. You could see previously that we were thinking about various forms of modules, various forms of materials, how we try to increase the knowledge those who are attending. Originally, we have under the umbrella of ER and Lung, the web page, which is called the Academy. So you can easily browse. You can see a screenshot on the left-hand side. But there might be other platforms we are considering to use to disseminate this information. I need to underline that however we try to be as inclusive as possible, we would not like this material to be disseminated to the general public. I think it might be better understandable when we are going to the next slide, please. Yes, it's a little bit busy, but I think it might be practical to walk you through on this. Starting with the left-hand side, you might also ask whether there will be some modules, how we can actually measure that those who are attending might benefit from this. So we are thinking about testing the attendees, but the testing actually not only serve the understanding of how the attendees are benefiting from these modules, but it should be also capable making capable us to understand how actually our materials are delivered. So it's a two-way kind of evaluation. With that, we try to understand how the participants are interested in and understood those we try to deliver, However, on the other hand, we also try to measure our educational materials and methods, whether they were suitable for the attendees or not. And naturally, once we have a good cohort of patients or other interested who are attending our academy, we would like to also understand whether the population we are targeting is appropriate, so our audience is well catched. You might have a good understanding how many type of assessment methods there are available. Probably the easiest one is the online multiple choice questions. You might have already seen lots of tests in your life. However, there are more sophisticated ones. We believe that our academics will not be cheating, but we would like to ensure that each and all modules are well understood. So we were thinking about introducing even more advanced testing methods. One of them might be in-person meetings or testing, which might form as an interview. But naturally, online tools are also available, which might be offered by specialized companies. And on top of that, and try to be as open as possible, there are alternative assessment methods. These are testing formats which discourage cheating, and there are lots of possibilities you can read on. I would rather emphasize the first one, which is case study analysis. I think this is something which we should also aim how the knowledge can be used in real life. Next slide, please. And this is coming also from the European Respiratory Society, because for physicians, you might already learned or heard about the CME credits. But it's not coming from the blue, but it's actually based on a very rigid methodology. And the European Board of Accreditation in Pneumology is the one which is reviewing each and all years these modules, whether they are appropriate, up to date or not. And this association is very kind, actually, because they published a good guidance how these multiple choice questions should be developed. And I think that this could be also the message for our work. So once we are trying to deliver something, it should be relevant, it should be user-friendly, and also we should focus on the important content. We should question whether we would like to actually test the knowledge or rather focusing on a more theoretical way. I think that everyone is on the same side, that we would like to deliver knowledge which can be used in the real life. Also, it's important to emphasize that we need to find a level of difficulty which is suitable for the attendees. And once we are raising these questions and also delivering these materials, they should be, as Louise mentioned, they should be concise. We try to phrase in a very simple way and avoiding double negatives, which are usually applied in various tests. And once we are building such kind of tests or try to test these people even with other methods, we should make it in a way that clues are avoided, because that actually might help us to really understand how the attendees understand the materials we are disseminating. I think with that, you might have a better understanding about our program. And I do not know whether we have any questions with the chat, but I would like to open for further discussion this meeting.
Thank you very much, Gergely. Maybe Pisana and myself and yourself, we can animate. I don't see any question in the chat, so maybe I will have one. It's always good to have one question ready. So a question maybe to Pisana and Gergely. Of course, this is a very important task, and Louise mentioned that it is a lot of work, and you do that on top of your current burden. So I would like to know if it will be a living document with updates, and if you have already planned the regularity of updates, and whether some some aspects will be replaced by more updated information?
Well, pH is a very rapidly evolving field, so it's absolutely essential to keep up to date. You've seen just in the last few months how many new things have come up. So yes, the answer is yes, it will be regularly updated to take into account any of the most recent developments. I would like to say also, because maybe it hasn't been said, that we're all volunteers. So we're all doing this because we're very committed to the pH cause, and we really believe this project to be valuable and important. And we plan to continue working on it. I don't think we've spoken about a timeline, but we're kind of hoping to finish by the end of the year. It might be ambitious with the revisions, but we'll see.
Congratulations. Maybe another question from a doctor to patients. I see people speaking German at home, speaking Hungarian, speaking Dutch, speaking French, speaking many languages for how. So I would like to know if this material will be available in different languages.
Shall I take that again? Yes. Yes, absolutely. And actually, we're lucky that artificial intelligence has improved enormously, so translations are actually very good these days. So with minimal post-editing, I think we can start with an AI translation and post-edit it and have it verified. So I think that's now a problem that would have been very serious not so long ago, but we're now very lucky to have this opportunity.
Yes, and on top of that, if I may, actually we try to be as inclusive as possible. And as you might know, Mark, in many, many countries, there are lots of advocacy activities where we need expert patients, and they are communicating in their local language about authorization of medications, or even the health technology assessment, which will be a hybrid one, thanks to the new EU regulations. So we believe that we should not exclude those who are not have a proficiency in English, but rather trying to have a better reach. As you know, Mark, we also have difficulties within ERL and Go East project. So I think that it might be also a kind of reflection on that try to reach out as many patient advocates as possible, because there's a lot of work, and we need many, many more experts. New generation is coming, so it is really high time for us to be prepared and have answers for these questions.
Excellent. I see a question in the chat. Should I read it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I read it. So will there be a form of accreditation, like a certificate, while most of the patients are doing that for their own? Maybe some might want a proof of successfully completing the course, and that echoes what Gergely just said about patient expert invited to speak with some regulatory bodies in many countries. So I don't know if one of you wants to take this question.
I could maybe say something about this. Yeah. So we have not finally decided on how to handle this. Gergely talked a lot about the exams and so on, but I would also like to stress that you don't need to take an exam. People can use this material just for their own and learn. But our clear aim is that we will have a certificate also for those that want to study a little more serious. And then we would like to try to make this certificate a little high-hanging in a way, so that you really have to study in order to pass an exam. And that people would understand that if you have a certificate from this academy, then you have gained a certain amount of knowledge that would be useful for you as a patient advocate.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I may add something, is to really understand or actually emphasize that there are huge differences between certification and accreditation. So it might be very difficult as a first step to aim for accreditation of this course. But on the long run, we should not exclude. This is actually my proposal. And with that also putting extra shoulder on our PH expert colleagues that we are the pilot here. So once we try to break the ice, it might be followed by other rare lung disease patients. So I think that we should not exclude at the very first step, but probably the certificate, as mentioned, Hal, actually might be our short-term goal.
Yeah, maybe one comment from me as member and vice coordinator of ER and Lung. We have a similar academy for doctors, and especially young doctors. And I'm always very, very happy and proud to welcome doctors from all over the world and Europe for training. And that's a very good initiative from ER and Lung. For the doctors, there are some short videos available made by young doctors from the Netherlands, from France, etc. And then they come for 1 week. And we had a young doctor from Ukraine recently coming for 1 week. Today, I met a doctor from Ireland who wants to come. So it's very good. Maybe one day we can also invite a patient representative to do that. That's something maybe we can push at ER and Lung level. So ER and Lung is patient-centric. That's something very important. And we really want to serve the community. I see a very nice comment. I let Pisana read the comment because it's a good one for you.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, lots of hard work and exciting things to come.
I can't see the comments, sorry.
Yeah, so I've just read it. So they Seth Hall congratulates you on the hard work you have done. So I know it's ongoing work, but it's very important. Maybe Eva and Mélanie want to say something because maybe from a French perspective, Mélanie, the French don't speak that well English. I mean, that's always a problem. They improve a lot, but will you make a lot of effort to disseminate that for the French community?
Well, I think that now with new technologies and all the possibilities to broadcast things, to translate directly in another language, I think it can be more useful than it used to be. So I think that will be new solutions that will help us a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Eva, from a PHA Europe and Austrian perspective.
And Austrian, yes. I agree what Mélanie told us, because we have AI and this helps a lot. I also use it and it shows me things I didn't realize, oh, I can use this and something else. And what is important when I'm learning the modules, what I have seen, number 7 from Louise, for instance, you can translate it, you have it in your own language, and this is much easier. And so to use AI is the simplest thing you can do. And I think that patient representatives, they want to do it not for their own, because they want to have for the exam to have a diploma or something else when they are ready with all the modules. Maybe they can do it in English, and this is not a problem for them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment about it's an actual real life situation that I have a brilliant member of our board in Italy who has a physics degree. She's a scientist, is a patient, and is incredibly knowledgeable. She could have an honorary degree in medicine. And I suggested her for a conference in Rome, and they told me that she needed to prove that she was an expert patient, despite the fact that she'd been on our board for years and the fact that she's a scientist and everything. So I think, this is going to be increasingly important to show that you actually have something, a certificate for the moment, maybe accreditation for the program later. And So I think it's going to be a very valuable thing.
Could I maybe add a comment to this? Because what we see is that at some points we are often treated just like regular patients. So, for instance, let's take the example of the upcoming ERS in Barcelona. We will not be allowed to enter the exhibition area. We will not be allowed to go to certain talks because we are treated as patients. But I think one has to distinguish between a patient and a patient advocate and a patient representative. And maybe a certificate like this could help in this respect.
Very good point. Totally agree.
Very good point indeed. And I was very pleased last year to be with Louise at ERS, discussing the burden of PH, but also scientific facts and very, very strong comments from Louise and other people. So you are right. We need to be able to put you in the right seat. And certainly the regulators, they also have good ideas on how to deal with that. That's some doctors are not allowed to go to the exhibition, you know, from some states in the United States, etc. So it's not only patients, it's only the problem of influence. And that's something we need to be careful about. So I see the clock running. Maybe Pisana can give a kind of conclusion for me, just one word. For me, it's a great honor to be with you. And in the last 30 years, I walked through many, many ways with patient association. And for me today, it's a milestone. So it's my only comment. Congratulations on what you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're very honored to have you and to have the support of ERN Lung. It's absolutely fundamental. And thank you for your support all of these years. You've been a very vocal advocate for patient involvement. And so we're very grateful for that. And I would like just to thank also Robert Pletica from Admedicum, who is behind all of the setup of this webinar today, and all the participants, of course.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Bye, Robert.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Nice World Diseases, Rare Diseases Day.
Yes, we forgot to say that tomorrow is Rare Disease Day.
Yeah.
And we're doing this in honor of Rare Disease Day.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Rare Disease Day is every day.
True. Indeed. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.